Hey, this is Tech Extreme, and today I'm doing a different video than what I generally would. Today I'm going to be doing a video on how to learn French quickly and effectively. I've been learning French for about 1.5 years now, well, roughly 2 years I'd say, and I've never been in like a proper French class or taken French classes to like learn the French that I have. If you're in Ireland, you might be familiar with the junior cert. I did mine 2 years ago, and I opted to do French like without even having a single class in French, and I did it at a higher level and I managed to get a C. But what I found is, like, after asking a few teachers who might teach French, they told me that they look for like very strange expressions that you'd use in French to kind of give you the higher mark. So if I was just being tested on my ability to speak French because I was able to make sentences and just say it, I probably would have gotten at least a B. But because they look for very specific French sentences, or like don't look at any, I don't know, natural ways of French, they only look at like the formal written French. If they saw maybe that I was using French just naturally, I probably would have gotten a higher mark, but I didn't. I actually spoke to a few people who got a C also, and I tried to have a conversation by using bonjour, comment ça va, pourquoi tu as appris la langue française, and they couldn't answer me anything. Which is strange because they got the same grade as me in that exam. So basically, yeah, I think that I have a good grasp of the French language, but I'm not like an educated through the system French speaker. I'm a French speaker with casual learning. So right, that's 2 minutes on the time frame. Sorry about boring you guys there, but let's just get into the video. So I guess my first tip would be to like learn the basics. That'd take about a week. Just learn your alphabet, your numbers, and your phonics, which is like pronunciation, how things are pronounced, why it's pronounced like that, and you know, just how things are said. Because you want to be understood in France, you don't want to be going around and going bonjour, comment ça va. You don't really want to be speaking like that, because A, you'll sound like you have, I don't know, no respect for the language, even though you might, but you just haven't learned it like with high regard to like the phonics of the language. You might have just learned it through writing it a lot in school, and while that's great, I do think that the system doesn't prepare you for speaking and just having the confidence to say things in French. So definitely like get your basics, like your alphabet, your numbers, and your phonics done. Like if you're good at it, it might take 2 to 3 hours, it might take you a few days. Just get those done, and then after that, learn your basic phrases and sayings. That might take you an hour, it might take you a couple of hours, I don't know, it just depends on how fast you learn things. And a good resource I can recommend is French Pod 101 for learning the basics, because they have a series called French in 3 minutes, and they'll go through how to say things like thank you or where's the bathroom, you know, like the basic phrases that you need. And they'll also go through pronunciation, numbers, alphabet, all for free. And then once you've moved on from there, I would recommend moving on to learning verbs and how to conjugate them in the present tense at the beginning, then go to the future, then the past, and all the tenses in between, because there's just a lot of them in French. The best resource I'd say for just getting yourself used to conjugating is a free resource. Like you can pay a lot of effort to it if you want, you can invest time, but I would just suggest using it a little bit just to kind of get used to the language, and that is Duolingo. Duolingo, people might be going, oh, that's very basic, it's for basic speakers. when you finish the tree you don't have an actual ability to speak the language. Well, yeah, that's true, but it gets you like the basics, it gets the foundation done, you know? And I would just recommend using it as much as you can, but don't let it be your prime like resource for learning a language, because you should definitely use, I don't know, if you have Netflix, just watch TV in French. If you have Spotify, listen to music in French. Things like that will definitely get you towards fluency and just ability to have a conversation a lot quicker. So basically the next thing would be full immersion in French, and that doesn't mean going to a different country. That means doing everything that you can in your power in French. So that could be your phone, your emails, your computer, any type of technology that you use it in French. If you're at the train station and you're buying a ticket and there's different language options, choose the French. Like, anytime you have a chance to use French, use French. Like, that can include changing your language of your computer, your phone, just all your technology to French, going to local French shops if there are any in your area, watching French TV, movies and YouTube if you have TV channels on your TV in French, watch those. If you have Netflix or just YouTube, just watch a bunch of French with French subtitles. Don't use English subtitles, because if you do, you are probably not going to learn anything. Like, you'll be looking at it and going, oh, okay, I'm keeping up. Oh yes, this word here, je, is I. But you won't really be picking it up quickly. And when you see the subtitles there, you'll see how French is kind of formed in a sentence, how people form sentences in French. And that's really important as well, because if you just go and, like, I don't know, read it and just don't focus on like speaking as well and just listening, you're going to like fall down a bit. So the subtitles and the speaking and the listening, it's like combining everything you need to like get by in a language or just do well in a language into one. So I would definitely suggest, when you can, use French subtitles. Don't use English subtitles. Nuh-uh. You ain't gonna get anywhere with that. I've done it before. You don't learn. Just change it to French, everything in French, and your brain will one day start thinking in French. Go to local French conversation groups in your library, your pub, anywhere else. I don't know, you have shops, coffee shops. Just look up events in your area that they have like French conversation groups and go to those. Listen in for a little bit if you're nervous, because that's what I do, because I don't get a chance to speak French a lot. So what I do is I listen in for about 5 minutes, and then after that I'm like, ah bah oui, d'accord, comment ça va, bonjour, and just being able to ask questions or going, ah oui, ah non, or something like, on ne fait pas ça, you know, just sentences like that will just come naturally to you after listening to a bunch of French. It'll be fresh in your head, you'll be thinking about it, and you won't have to be thinking about like conjugation or anything like that, because your brain will have the vocab in one part of French and hopefully English here, and you can just switch to the French side after a while. And if you can, make some French friends or francophone friends. Francophone is a great word. It just means people who speak French around the world, because as we all know, a lot of countries in Africa, Caribbean islands, Canada, the province of Quebec and Ontario, and maybe a few other places in Canada, I don't really know, they all speak French. And just saying that one country, France or Belgium, speaks French is kind of a bit like silly, because there's a bunch of countries that speak French. Same way there's a bunch of countries that speak English, a bunch of countries that speak Spanish, and a bunch of countries that speak Slavic languages. Like, if you're wondering what I'm saying about Slavic, it's just like, you can, if you speak one language generally, you can understand the other like without any difficulty. Sometimes you might have a bit of difficulty, you might learn a little bit and you're like, oh okay, now I speak the language. That's how it is with Slavic languages. You pick up one, you can pick up another, kind of, if you get what I mean. And just basically try not to use English anytime. Like if you live in a house where people only speak English, or if your mother tongue is, I don't know, something else, you mightn't be able to like use French because nobody speaks it around you and they'll be wondering like, what are you saying? The only time I'd ever really use French around people who don't speak it is if I feel that they're annoying me. I can just say something about them in French in my head. Like obviously not say it because that's not nice. But if you like want to use it as a secret weapon or like as a secret language, that's a good reason to learn French as well, because barely anyone speaks it in the English world except in Canada, where one province speaks it, a few others might have some speakers there, things like that. And just be creative. Like, you know, when you're speaking French, don't have a lull in the conversation, or when you're writing something, don't have a lull. Just think of a different way to say it, because trust me, there's a million ways to say something. Like you might be trying to say, I don't know, the word for a museum, and you can't, so you might go la place qu'il y a beaucoup des histoires. You know, you can just be creative with the language, because like that's what fluency is, being able to like come up with things and not trying to have a lull, because when you have a lull it's kind of like, oh great, now I feel like I can't speak it. Just be creative, you know, because like generally speaking, if you make an effort with French speakers in French, they're going to appreciate it more than if you try and use English in a place where French is the spoken language. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, just try your best in learning the language, because at the end of the day, people who come to like English speaking countries and learn English, like imagine being in their shoes and like, you know, when they're trying to learn a language and you're just kind of like, okay, I'm impatient now. Just, I think we all have to kind of understand that we all learn at different paces. We all have a different level of the language that we're speaking, and we should be respectful of that. So, but generally speaking, like French people just, once you speak their language, they'll help you out so much, you know? But like in English speaking countries, people get shocked if people don't speak English. They're like, oh, what's going on? Or if they meet, I don't know, people around the corner that are speaking Spanish and they don't speak Spanish, they might be going, oh no, what's this? They'll panic when they don't really have to. Like, they just need to understand that there are other people in the world that speak other languages than English, and maybe try learn a bit of their language and see what happens, you know? Anyways, that's enough of my I don't know, my vents of sorts. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. Comment down below what you thought, and I hope to see you in the next video.